church, how are you? Hope you are doing well by God's grace. Today we celebrate Father's Day. We will talk about David, the King David, and of course his relationship with Absalom. And I hope God will speak with us today through his word. So I will ask you to take some time right now and read 2 Samuel chapter 13 until chapter 18. So let me share a summary of Absalom's life. After unifying the kingdom and settled his family in Jerusalem, David faced a lot of problems and crises with his family, mainly with Absalom. So his sister Tamar had been raped by David's eldest son, Amnon, who was temporarily in love with her. Absalom comforted and protected Tamar, waiting for 2 years to avenge her disgrace, while the king simply took no action to punish the criminal. He then invited Amnon and his brothers for a celebration and ordered his servants to kill Amnon. Absalom after that took refuge in his grandfather's house. Although David longed for him, it would take 3 years for Absalom to return safe to Jerusalem. After 2 more years, Absalom had still not met his father face to face, King David. But Joab intervened with the king and he finally received Absalom, greeting him with a kiss. So over the next 4 years, Absalom raised a revolt against his father. The rebellion assumed such a large proportion that David had to leave. He was obligated to leave Jerusalem to seek refuge in another place. Absalom so entered Jerusalem and appropriated the Hiram of David as a symbol of having assumed the royal control. The decisive battle was fought in the wood of Ephraim. Unwilling to kill his own son, the king ordered his generals to be gentle with this young man. As Absalom fled the battle, he was caught by his famous hair in the branch of an oak tree. Joab was informed about what happened, so he came and killed Absalom. So this was the end of his life. So what can we highlight between David and his relationship with Absalom, his son? And the first thing that I want to share here is that good intentions alone are not enough on raising children. Good intentions alone are not enough on raising children. So we can see that David had good intentions, and that is very clear for us by the names he chose for their sons. In that time, names used to have a meaning and revealed as well the intentions and the expectations the parents had towards their children. For example, Adonias means the one to belong to the Lord. Solomon means peaceful. And Absalom means the father of peace. So it's clear for us here that David had good intentions. But at the end of the story, we saw how Absalom was killed by someone who was working for David, and it was a disaster. We see all the problems that they faced. So it's clear for us that good intentions alone are not enough. The second thing I would like to highlight is that David was a neglect father leading his home. David was a neglect father leading his home. As king of Israel, for sure, David had several responsibilities, and that time Israel was in constant wars. Also, David had so many wives and children, and for sure, he could not pay attention to all his children. He didn't have time to talk with them, to have a close relationship with them. He could not pay attention to his children. So how he could set a time, how he could spend time with them. So Absalom, he had everything. He had money, for sure he had a good house, he had servants to be with him. Absalom also, the Bible shows us, he was a handsome man, and the Bible tells us that in 2 Samuel chapter 14 verse 25. He was the most handsome man in his generation. And finally, I like to highlight here that we cannot transfer non-transferable responsibilities. We cannot transfer non-transferable responsibilities. If we come back to the story, we can see that between Tamar and Amnon, when they had that problem, David didn't do anything. So he thought that the time would be able to fix that problem. But we know that time was not enough. So David led to the time to deal with this problem. Also, when Absalom killed Amnon, what happened in that moment? Absalom ran away to his grandfather's house. And again, David transferred the responsibility to his father-in-law to take care of Absalom's life. It was his responsibility. So David should go there and face his son and talk with his son and exhort his son and even punish his son. But he didn't do anything. So he just gave to his father-in-law this responsibility to take care of his son. When Absalom returned to Jerusalem, it's clear that David gave the responsibility to deal with his son to someone else. So Joab had to intervene in this situation and bring Absalom to David's presence. Again, even already in Jerusalem, Absalom was there waiting for his father, and David was not able to go there and talk and deal with this problem. So someone else had to bring Absalom to David's presence. So again, he was delegating this responsibility to someone else. We cannot delegate non-transferable responsibilities. We cannot transfer non-transferable responsibilities. So we can learn with David. Good intentions alone are not enough. We shouldn't neglect important things when leading our home. We can't transfer non-transferable responsibilities. My prayer this morning is that as parents, of course, these messages are not just for the fathers. Of course, we are highlighting here because of Father's Day, David's life, but as parents, we all have those responsibilities. May God continue to bless you and your family.